Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a few weeks that I uploaded a video and I've been waiting for so much time to make a video on this topic. You would have guessed it from the title itself. I'm going to be talking about GRE. It's one of my favorite topics to discuss about when it comes to application materials, and I'm going to be talking about why GRE is my favorite topic and what all things are associated with the examination and how you can do well in the exam. I'm going to be making two videos on this series. In the first video, I'm going to be talking about what is GRE and what is the format of the examination, when should you take your test, when should you book your examination, how you can book your examination, and what all things happens on the test day. So what all documents you need to carry and what happens during the test itself, and finally how do you get your scores and how you can report them. In the second video, I'm going to be talking about what was my score and what I did to achieve that, and how you can plan your studies in order to achieve the score that you're aiming for. So let's get started. I'm going to see you on the other side of the intro. So the first question that pops up is, what is GRE? Now this question in itself is kind of silly to answer because I believe that most of the people who aren't even applying for, or planning for higher studies abroad, they know that GRE is a test that you need to take if you want to study abroad for your post-graduation. So I'm going to rephrase this question a bit. Why GRE? Why do universities ask for a GRE scorecard? So to answer that, we need to understand what exactly happens in GRE. So GRE is a way for universities to judge a student's analytical capabilities, and the way they do that is through your math and verbal skills. But wait, how can a student's verbal skills can help universities making a judgment about their analytical capabilities? Now, in case of GRE verbal, they don't judge your language skills through verbal. Now, I'm not saying that you can do well in GRE if you have a poor command on the language, but what I mean by that is the command over language becomes secondary skill when it comes to GRE verbal. The primary concern that they have, or primary thing that they want to check about you, is whether you can think about different scenarios when you are provided facts or ideas in English. What is your thought process? How do you think about different situations? Can you think about any alternative scenario, or can you make sense of the situation that is given to you? So for that, they have a pattern for the examination, and I'm going to be discussing more about it in the next video. So I'll continue on why GRE. So the second question which will come up is GRE still relevant after the pandemic thing? So we all know that now, after like in the post-pandemic era, we can take the tests at home, and most of the universities anyway are providing you GRE waivers. So how relevant GRE is in the current situation? And my answer to that is it's quite relevant, because even though universities have provided you with a GRE waiver, which means that you don't need GRE score in order to apply to any university, but still if you go through their college websites, right, you would see in their scholarship section, you'll find that you need a GRE score in order to get a scholarship. So GRE score is still relevant, and I would say if you have any gaps in your profile, say if you have a low GPA or if you lack research experience, then a good GRE score can show that you are a diligent student, and you can do well if they select you for the university. So in that sense, I would still recommend that you take GRE. Now one more question on that would be, what if I have a very high GPA? So let's take an example. If you have a 9.5 plus GPA, and say if you have 2 to 3 years of experience, relevant work experience and research experience, even then I would say that you should take GRE. The reason being, it was not going to do any harm to you, but it might open doors to a lot of universities that you cannot apply if you don't have a GRE score with you. So even if you have a very stellar profile, I would still say that you should take GRE, because why keep your options limited? You have two options, whether you can take it from home or you can take it from center. And over there, my advice would be that if possible, always take your GRE examination from the center itself, because it's easier, it's convenient for you. If there is any interruptions due to internet connection, it's on them. But if you are taking it from home, it's your problem, and you'll have to prove that it was a genuine case and you are not trying to cheat. So why go through all that hassle if you can go to the center which you can find nearby and get this thing sorted in a few hours? So I would suggest that you take GRE from the center itself, and it'll help you a lot. Showing the university that you are gonna be a good addition to them. Now, next question is really important. When should I take GRE? Now, what I'm gonna say next has been documented in millions of places, and it has been said multiple number of times. Even when I was preparing for GRE and when I was planning for my applications, I went through this a number of times and I made this mistake. But I'm gonna repeat this once more so that you don't make that mistake. And that is, you should always think of a date that you want to take your GRE on, book your GRE test on that date, and then start preparing for GRE. Because what happens is, I as a middle class Indian student, I fell into this trap. I started preparing for GRE, and then I thought maybe I should wait for some time because I didn't want to waste my 13,000. So it was approximately 13,000 for my one single attempt. And as a middle class Indian student, I was a bit hesitant, in booking the test without any preparation. But the best way to go about is you think of a date when you want to take GRE, you start preparing, and you create a plan according to that. It doesn't matter if you want to take GRE, say 2 months down the line or 1 month down the line. But best would be to pick a date, book a slot, and then start your preparation. What happened in my case was I had a very low GPA, so I was not too confident about my chances in some of the universities that I applied to. And if I had taken GRE a bit earlier, so I took my GRE in November, and say if I had taken my GRE in the month of August, then I would have had a great chance at some of the universities that I didn't get into, and those were the universities that I really wanted to get into. So I would say that you plan things well in advance. Don't put it too very late. According to me, November is very late. So you should have your final GRE score at the start of October and as late as mid-October. You should not get any late than that, because most of the top universities, right, they have their application deadlines by the end of December. And if you don't have a GRE score by November or November end, it means that you're going to be applying very close to the deadline, which will show to the university that you were not prepared with your application and you did all these things at the end moment. And it does not give a very good impression of you. So in my opinion, I feel that the best time to take GRE is maybe around July or August, because it gives you a chance to a reattempt if you feel that your score is not what you wanted it to be or what you thought it would be. So say in July or August, you get your GRE score, then you can start application early. You get your time to sort LOR and SOP out. But if you want, you can take another attempt in the month of September, and by the October start, you will have a GRE score with you and you can start your application by then. Coming on to the next question, when should I book a GRE slot? Now, answer to that would be it depends. It depends on where you are in terms of your preparation. How confident do you feel about your chances? So I would say that anywhere between 1 month to 2 months will be a good enough time, good enough buffer to prepare for the examination, and anything above that would be an overkill. So if you are dedicating around 1 to 2 hours on a daily basis and you are sincere enough to do that, then I think you'll have enough time to prepare for the test and you can get the score that you desire to achieve. So first step is to pick a date, right? So for that, let's assume that today is June 5th and I have decided that I'm gonna be needing 2 months to prepare for GRE. So 2 months from today would be falling somewhere around August 5th, right? So if we look at August 5th, it's falling on a Friday, which I believe is not a very good day to take the examination, and I'm gonna explain why. I took my GRE on Tuesday, and it's because I'm a working professional. I work on weekdays, and I need some time, a little bit of time to prepare myself before I take the test. So what I did was I had a Friday off when I took my examination, and I took a day off on Monday. So I had 4 good days to prepare myself. So for the first 3 days, I did all my preparation, I did revision, I took a lot of practice tests, and on the fourth day, which is Monday, I gave myself some breathing space. I chilled out, I watched my favorite movie, and then on Tuesday, I took the test and I got my score. And I was quite satisfied with what I got. So I feel that when you are picking a date, you should give yourself a breathing space so that even if you're a student, right, you don't have to rush into your examination. So it might happen that you book a test slot on, say, Friday, and you are occupied with something else on Thursday. Then you won't feel too confident about your chances in the examination, and you don't wanna ruin your examination just because you were busy at the day before. So in this example, if Friday is like August 5th is falling on Friday, then I would pick the next date, which will be on Monday, that is August 8th. So if you decide today on June 5th that you want to take GRE in the next 2 months, then I believe that August 8th would be a really good date for you to book the test. Now comes the day of your test. You are feeling nervous, at the same time you're feeling excited as well. I would say technically you don't need to feel nervous at all, because you would already be aware by now the range of the score that you're gonna get, because you would have taken a series of practice tests and your score would probably be decided by now. So no need to overthink, because it's not gonna help you. Go to the center with confidence, reach there. Now the question is, what all things you need to carry to the test center? And the answer to that is very simple, it's very short. You just need your passport and a print copy of your admit card. But one document that is must have is your passport. And believe me, if you don't take your passport to the center, they will ask you to leave the test center. And trust me, no other identity proof will work for you. Not even Aadhaar, PAN, nothing else. If you don't have a passport, you cannot take GRE. It's as simple as that. Apart from these two things, you're not going to be allowed to take your personal gadgets, your bag, your wallets, or anything. So I would suggest you either keep them at home, or I believe most of the test centers would have a locker, so you can keep all these things in a locker. Lastly, what happens during the test? So in your test, you will be scored based on your performance in 5 different sections. First would be an analytical writing section, which will comprise of 2 essays of 30 minutes each, followed by a 10-minute section break. Post that, you may get your first verbal or first quant section, and this is where things get interesting. Now, in either of the sections, your score, like each question will have an equal weightage, but your final normalized score will depend on how many difficult questions you were able to get correctly. So, your performance in the first section, like quant 1 and verbal 1 combined, will decide how much score you're gonna get. And I'm going to be talking about normalization in a separate video, because that's an interesting topic in itself. But for you to understand it, like your final normalized score depends on how well you perform in your first section, because that will decide the difficulty level of the coming, the questions in the coming section. Having said that, once you take all your sections, you complete the test, then after that a screen will appear where you'll get your quant and verbal scores. You won't be able to get your AWA scores, because it'll need someone to read your essay subjectively. It's not an objective section, but rest of these sections are objective, so you'll get your quant and verbal score. And I think within 7 to 10 working days, you'll get your overall GRE scores, which you can send to the universities. Now, all you need to do is you need to go to the portal, select the universities that you want to send your scores to, and then you can hit send. And I believe that it will take around 2 to 3 business days. They say that it might take 3 to 5, but in my case, I have seen that it took 2 to 3 business days for my scores to reach the universities. You get 4 free scores. So what you can do is either you can decide beforehand, before going to the test center, that these are the 4 universities and courses that I want to send my GRE scores to, or what you can do is you can wait. And once you take your GRE, then you can decide that I want to send my scores to these universities. But in that case, you would be losing out on those 4 free scores that you want to send. So that's all for this video. In the next video, I'm going to be discussing about what was my score, what was my strategy to prepare for GRE, how many attempts did I take, and what you can do to achieve the score of your dreams. So stay tuned for that. I hope I helped you with this video.